Welcome to Module 2 of Live Success Now. I expect that some of the ideas I presented to you in Module 1 have begun to settle in and are becoming part of how you see yourself and your world. We are going to go deeper into those ideas and the other inside secrets to success in Module 4. But in the meantime, in this second session and in Module 3, you get to do some deep inner work so that when we get to Module 4, you will be ready to step into your creative power and to fully integrate those ideas. In Module 1, I mentioned your inherent creative ability to conceptualize and idealize. In this second module, we are going to delve into how to go about using those abilities to create a personal life master plan. I am a baby boomer, born in the middle of the previous century. No one ever talked to me about creating my own life master plan. However, there existed a societal role that I was expected to fit into. You know it well. Get a decent education that would allow me to get a good job that would develop into a respected career. Get married, buy a house in the suburbs, have a couple of kids, raise them to follow the same course, retire, enjoy time with grandkids, and pass the time with some hobby. Then die. That was the life plan I was expected to follow. Chances are that was the game plan you were expected to follow as well. Many people still, without any conscious thought, accept that as their life master plan. However, throughout history, there have always been the outsiders, the exceptional few, who have felt a profound sense of personal destiny and who have gone on to live a life of their own design. They followed their own master plan. But most folks just did what was expected of them. It was comfortable to fit in. However, in today's world, with the dramatic changes that have taken place in the last few years, when the old systems are breaking down and the traditional assumptions no longer appear valid, those traditional societal roles appear less and less comfortable. In the next few years, the world will undergo even more dramatic changes, and those who blindly attempt to fit into that outdated societal role will find themselves completely at sea without a rudder. We exist in a time of profound transition. So many things are in a state of deep flux that it appears like chaos to those who have yet to transform their thinking about themselves and their roles in life. Those who have a life master plan will not only be able to gracefully navigate this amazing time of profound transition, they will become way showers to those who are overwhelmed and feel lost. This radically transformative time we live in is not only about old systems becoming obsolete and new emerging systems taking over, it is about a fundamental shift in the grand narrative that shapes the way people perceive the world and their place in it. Human history has been dominated by the idea of scarcity, starting from tribal competition for territory and resources, and with individuals in those tribes competing for alpha male and alpha female status, to our modern world of countries and companies competing for competitive edge and market share, and with individuals competing for better jobs and higher economic or social status. Everything in our collective past was about scarcity. It was the predominant mindset, the underlying lens through which humans viewed reality, the big paradigm which defined everything. And for many of us, it is still the lens through which we perceive the nature of reality. However, in the last few years, a radical shift of perspective has taken place. And although it has not yet worked its way into the mainstream conversation, a new paradigm has begun to transform the human psyche from a fundamental belief in scarcity to a fundamental belief in abundance. This abundance revolution began to show up several decades ago, but became more apparent with the spread of the internet. Today, more than half the world's population of 7.7 billion people have access via the internet to more information than anyone on Earth did just 20 years ago, even those privileged enough to attend the best universities. Not so long ago, our problem was a lack of access to information, a scarcity of knowledge. Today, our problem is that we have access to more knowledge than we can individually process. Our problem is not the scarcity of information. Our problem is the abundance of information. Scarcity economics is essentially this. If I have only one loaf of bread and I exchange it to you in return for the one silver coin you have, I have no bread and you have no coins. Well, abundance economics is this. If I share my one good idea with you, and in return, you share your one good idea with me, then we each have two good ideas. The scarcity mindset says that I need to compete in order to create my success. The abundance mindset says that I need to contribute in order to create my success. The scarcity belief says that your greater success diminishes my potential for success. The abundance belief says that your greater success increases my potential for success. Scarcity says that more people equals more competition for finite resources. Abundance says that more people equals more minds contributing ideas and creative solutions. Abundance thinking says that human imagination is capable of creating even more abundance and more resources. It surpasses and supplants the historical paradigm that human imagination is limited to finding ways to outthink competitors in order to gain control of limited resources. It allows for the idea that human imagination is an open-ended source of endless creativity and wealth. Okay, with all that being said, let's briefly explore human imagination and its ability to conceptualize and idealize. And then we will get to how to create that life master plan. I have said this many times over the years, and I want to affirm it again. It is of vital importance. Every tool and every piece of technology was first created in human imagination before it became an actuality in the external world. From the simplest 3 million-year-old stone tools to the modern International Space Station, every human invention was first conceptualized in imagination. So was every piece of art and every piece of music, language and literature, mathematics and quantum theory, this communication platform, and this course, all created in human imagination. So was every business idea and every individual success story. Creating your life master plan will also be created in your imagination. Ignoring the probability that other sentient creatures exist in this universe and putting aside the creation of the universe itself, the human imagination is the only thing that has ever created anything. Once you grasp the enormity of that concept, you will see that your ability to conceptualize an ideal is an enormous power. When I wrote my book, Your Prosperity Paradigm, I coined the term envisioneering to describe the process of taking a concept from the internal world of pure imagination to making it manifest and real in the external world. Once you have created your life master plan, you will have envisioned your future. Read that book and you can become an envisioneering practitioner. I ask you to imagine this. As we go through this process together, you have the opportunity to consciously and intentionally design a life of abundance and fulfillment. There is no scarcity mindset here. That limiting belief system is behind you now. This is about your abundance mindset, your prosperity paradigm. Do not let your inner critic tell you that what you are conceiving exists only in your imagination. Remind it that it itself, that inner critic, that it also exists only in your imagination, and so does your highest, best version of yourself. You are, in fact, what you imagine yourself to be. Okay, so what is a life master plan? In one sense, it is like a script for a movie in which you have the starring role. In another sense, it is like an organizational system that enables you to sort and prioritize the various files that are scattered around in the many rooms in your mind. In another sense, it is like a planning document that lays out your idealized future and defines what you need to focus your attention on each day in order to create that idealized future. Once we go through this whole process, the nitty-gritty details of what to do in any given moment will become clear. But first, we have to begin with the intangibles, those special qualities that are unique to you, your values, and ideals. In other words, you get to choose what you wish to create and why you wish to create it. That is step number one. There is something that I refer to as neuromuscular magic that happens when you write by hand, and that does not fully happen when you write using a keyboard. Handwriting enhances mental processes like creativity, focus, learning, and comprehension because it involves both halves of the brain. Handwriting actually creates new neural pathways in the brain. So grab a pen and paper and let's get started. Establishing your core values is essential. They define who you are as much as they define what is important to you. If you do not know what your core values are, you cannot fully come to know yourself. Now, I want you to come up with a list of 5 to 10 core values that you consider to be the most important to you as an individual. To make it easier for you, instead of asking you to blindly come up with those personal core values, I have provided a list of the most common human values gleaned from psychological research. You can find it at lesliefeger.com/core-values. It is time to pause this recording and complete the exercise defined there before we continue with this process. It will require some time, insight, and personal integrity. This internal work is about revealing yourself to you. It is kind of like looking in the mirror to see your true beauty and uniqueness. Remember that you are only to pick 5 to 10. Okay, hit pause. See you back here soon. Okay, welcome back. Now it is time to flesh out or enhance those core values. I am going to ask you to take each one of those 5 to 10 representative words that you have chosen as personal core values and to write a short paragraph of 2 to 3 sentences to describe the fullness of that core value. This exercise should bring up for you not just the full expression of what that value means to you, it should also evoke both the underlying why that you hold that value and the deep sense of how that core value defines your true essence. Take the necessary time to do this thoughtfully. Write one paragraph for each of the 5 to 10 core values you have selected as being the most true for you. Then go for a walk or do some simple physical task like laundry or tidying the house to clear your mind and to allow this to all just settle in. Maybe even take a break overnight or for a couple of days. Once you feel ready, go back and rewrite again each of those 5 to 10 paragraphs, making them as coherent and concise as possible. See you back here once you are ready to proceed. Welcome back again. How does it feel to have identified your personal value statements? Do you feel like you are free from the chains of uncertainty? Uncertainty about what you truly value in life? If so, it must feel liberating and empowering. I know it did for me when I did it. You should have a greater sense of clarity now about who you are and what your life should be about. In addition to that clarity, I imagine you also feel a certain sense of responsibility about how you go about living your life from here forward. Now let's talk about your ideals. Although personal ideals can be, and often are, seen as being synonymous with core values, here we are going to differentiate ideals from core values, to define ideals as specific outcomes you desire to achieve, and to talk about imagining an idealized future based on your personal core values. So, in order to do that, we're going to do two things. First, we will look at the different aspects of self. And second, you will envision how you idealize your future self in each of those aspects. Remember that we're going through the process of creating your life master plan. So please be sure to pay close attention. In order to have a balanced and complete life, we need to have a measurable amount of well-being or success in each of the major aspects of self, which I define as, number one, physical and environmental. These days, the word environmental is kind of a trigger word, so please do not think that I am suggesting here that you become an environmental activist. I use the word environment traditionally here to refer to your surroundings. So when I say physical and environmental, I mean your body, your home, your immediate environment. And if you choose, you can, like me, expand your sense of environment to include our mutual home, this beautiful planet. Number 2, emotional and relationship. When I say emotional and relationship, I am not, again, suggesting that it is expected or even preferable in any way to be involved in an intimate relationship. We are all always involved in emotional relationships with not just other people, but with pets and places and situations and even different parts of ourselves. So I am suggesting that you look at your whole emotional relationship to your world. Number 3, mental and educational. Obviously, educational does not just refer to formal institutional education. And while I have great respect for traditional college and university education, the more important education is that which you receive from your own self-schooling and from the school of life. You are here on this course, so I do not need to tell you that the absolute most valuable education you can receive is personal development, the knowledge of self and potential. Number 4, spiritual and ethical. Even if you consider yourself to be an atheist, you have a spiritual component to your life. You may choose to call it ethical instead of spiritual, or you may choose to call it metaphysical instead of spiritual. How you refer to that idealized version of self that we all aspire to is up to you. How you think of the all that is all is also up to you. Nevertheless, it is an aspect of you, and you are in relationship to it. And of course, that 5th aspect of self that most often comes to mind when the word success is mentioned, your material and financial well-being. I don't think I need to elaborate on this. For many folks, this is the major component of their reality picture. Okay, it is time for your next exercise. Handwritten, of course. This time, I want you to take 5 new pieces of paper and label each one, center top, beginning with my physical and environmental ideals, then proceeding to each of the other 4, my emotional and relationship ideals, my mental and educational ideals, my spiritual and ethical ideals, and finally, on the top of the 5th piece of paper, my material and financial ideals. Then take one of those pages. Focus your attention on that one aspect of self. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Allow yourself to become centered. Then open your eyes and begin writing. Write down everything that comes to mind. Allow your imagination to expand. Resist the temptation, for now, to edit or limit yourself. You will likely need both sides of each piece of paper, maybe even additional sheets of paper. Be sure to list at least 10 items in each category. Do the same process for all 5 aspects of self. Close your eyes, relax, breathe, get centered, then write. Resist the temptation to shortcut this process. Take your time. Allow your imagination to flow and write down everything that comes to mind in each of those 5 categories. Okay, it is time to pause this recording again and return once you have completed this exercise. Welcome back again. I imagine that you found that to be fairly exhilarating. I have some more revealing and rewarding work for you to do. You are probably getting to know yourself a little bit better from this process, right? Self-awareness is the primary maxim or first and necessary step of self-mastery. Your next step is to review each of those lists. Go through each item on each list and ask yourself two questions. Number one, why do I want this ideal in my life? Why do I want this ideal in my life? And two, how will I benefit from having it? Take your time, of course. Think it through carefully. If you find yourself thinking that this process seems like a lot of work, please remember that we are constructing your life master plan. This is possibly the most important work you may ever do. And once it is complete, your life will actually be a lot simpler to live, and it will be a lot easier for you to create the success you desire. Hit pause now and do that work. There you are again. And yes, you have more homework to do. Take 5 new blank pieces of paper, title them the same as before with each of the 5 aspects. This time, you are going to narrow down your lists. Select the 5 most important items from each of the 5 aspects of your life. Pick the 5 that most move your spirit, your heart, your gut. Give your mind the least important vote here. I want you to pick the 5 that feel the most resonant with what moves you, what causes your heart to expand, your spirit to soar, and your gut feeling to say, yes. 5 from physical and environmental, and 5 from each of the other 4 aspects of your life. And when you write them down on each new page, underneath each one, write your reasons for desiring each one and the benefits you will receive from having each one. 5 pages, 5 ideals per page, with their associated reasons and benefits on each page. But do not discard any of the previous pages simply because we're moving on to the next step. Keep them for future reference. We are almost there. Only a couple of small steps before you get to your life master plan. Oh, and have some fun doing this. Seriously, make it a fun exercise. Use some colored pens or highlighters. Jazz up your lists. There is magic in being playful. It engages both hemispheres of your brain. It lights up those neurons. And it is fun. Okay, time to pause this recording again. See you in a while. All right, welcome back. Before moving on to the next step, let's do a quick review of what you have accomplished so far. You have taken a look at many possible and attractive ideals in different areas of your life. That opened up your imagination to the various possibilities that exist for you. These possibilities are not things that are out there. They are, in fact, part of who you are. They arose from within you. After that step, you then identified the 25 most important ideals in your life and identified the reasons you want to achieve those ideals and identified what benefits you will get to enjoy from those ideals. The seeds have been planted and they are germinating and will soon spring forth. You have almost arrived at having chosen a direction for your life, and you have identified some motivating factors that will impel you in that direction. But you are not quite at total clarity and congruency just yet. There is one final step to go through before we have arrived at being able to forge your life master plan. Now you need to compare each ideal from each list to all the other ideals you have selected in order to see if there are any conflicts or discordancies. Do an honest evaluation. Compare each of your 25 stated ideals to each of the others and ask yourself if there are any that may cause you to feel confused or conflicted or distracted when working towards the realization of any of the other ideals on your list. And then eliminate those conflicting items or re-examine and adjust them to ensure that they are harmonious and not discordant. And now, grab your original list of core values you selected. Read through your list of values, those 5 to 10 paragraphs you wrote, preferably out loud. And then read through your list of ideals, and as you read each ideal, ask yourself how aligned it is with your core values. Rate each one on a scale of 1 to 10. Doing this will allow you to see which of those 25 ideals best align with or is in accordance with your core values. Now, after having done that, it is time to narrow your focus. Pare your entire list of 25 down to the 10 most resonant ones. This is important though. Your list of 10 does not need to be 2 from each aspect or area of your life. However, it should include at least 1 from each aspect of self and should be a maximum of 4 from any one area. For example, you may pick only 1 ideal from physical and environmental, 2 from emotional and relationship, 2 from mental and educational, 1 from spiritual and ethical, and 4 from material and financial. Or you may choose 2 from physical and environmental, 2 from emotional and relationship, 1 from mental and educational, 3 from spiritual and ethical, and 2 from material and financial. It is entirely up to you. Just make sure it adds up to exactly 10. No more, no less. It is up to you to choose your highest and most harmonious ideals. But I have already told you how to best choose those priorities. Go back to your list of 5 to 10 values and see which of your 25 selected ideals are most in harmony with those core values. Choose the 10 most harmonious and resonant ones. Then sit with them for a couple of hours, letting them percolate in your mind. Review and edit if and only if one or more of them does not feel like it pulls at your heartstrings. Do that, and when you come back, we will write your life master plan. Okay, hit pause again. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Congratulations. If you have sat with your list of 10, I imagine that you feel like you are pregnant with possibility, and the anticipation of giving birth is both a bit scary and exciting. You probably feel alive. Once you have created your life master plan, you will feel even more alive. You may even feel like you have been given new life. Before we get to you creating your life master plan, I want to say a few things about how important it is to know what you are about, to have purpose. If you look around with clear eyes, you will see that many people seek refuge from themselves in endless distractions, mind-numbing addictions, and mindless philosophies, or just general busyness. They confuse activity for purpose. In fact, they are running away from the realization that their lives have no sense of purpose. They sense the horrible truth that a life without a defined purpose is a life of no purpose, and a life of no purpose is really no life at all. It is merely an existence, an existential wasteland. Most people know that or feel it, if not consciously, at least on some level. So they look for ways to add a sense of purpose to their lives. The problem most people have when searching for purpose is that they look to some outside force to supply the purpose of their life, like societal expectations or religious dictums. The result is that they end up with some assigned purpose that is not real, not genuinely their own. And that does not work to fill that deep need for personal purpose. The purpose of your life must be what you choose, not what is chosen for you. Creating a life master plan brings that sense of purpose to your life, a self-designed purpose that also supplies deep meaning to your day-to-day life. It causes you to get out of bed each day filled with gratitude, enthusiasm, and positive expectation. Creating a life master plan is choosing to live in alignment with your core values and committing to personal self-actualization by establishing personal ideals that are in accordance with your values. I understand the difficulty involved in drafting your life master plan, so I have provided you a template at lesliefeger.com/masterplan. Before I leave you to go glory in that work, I want to say a few things. First of all, in our next session, we are going to examine how to turn this all into a practical and workable plan. Now that we have the what and the why, we will move on to the how. Once you have finished drafting that life master plan, you will have the overall storyline for the movie of your life. In Module 3, we will work together to write the scene-by-scene script, including the dialogue and the director's notes. Second, I want to remind you that this is all something you are creating. I am simply acting as a facilitator. You are the one who is making it real and meaningful. Every realization is taking place in your consciousness, and every actualization will occur in your life. Third, I want to congratulate you for the important work you are doing. Not everyone is willing to undertake this kind of personal examination and integration, which, of course, may be exactly why most people do not get to create, embody, live, and enjoy remarkable success stories. This is your time to opt out of the outmoded narrative of scarcity economics and opt into the emerging abundance mindset, the prosperity paradigm. And finally, I would like to remind you that you are a creative, causative agent within an ever-evolving universe within which enormous potentialities exist that are limited only by your own imagination. Imagine abundance. Imagine prosperity. Imagine success. Okay, I will see you back here for Module 3. Ciao for now.